Hey Baker Art Friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. We're going to draw either a house or a haunted house today, depending on if you feel a little spooky and celebrate Halloween, or maybe you don't, and that's okay too. And so I'll just show you how to draw a fun fall house. But regardless, we're going to first start with shapes. So the first house I'm going to show you is not spooky, and it's just drawn with shapes. And so what you can do is you can either print out the 2 pages that I have here that show you how to draw a house that is not spooky, or you can also just bring it up on your iPad and look at the example, or you can also just follow along with me. So what we're going to do first is we are going to start at step 1, and we are going to draw a rectangle. And when we draw the rectangle, we're going to kind of figure out where we want it. We don't want it too far up on our page because I see that we're going to be adding some things up at the top. So probably sometimes what I like to do is put a line where I want to start drawing. So probably around here is where I'll start my rectangle. And then I want to think about the bottom, how far down, and maybe like right around here is where I want to stop my rectangle. So then I'm going to go ahead and draw my rectangle, and then I'm going to go across. And then I'm going to go down and across. And there I have my rectangle. Now, the next thing I see is that there is another rectangle on top. So I'm going to go up and across and down. And I might want to give a little more space there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this down just a tad. And that's the nice thing about when you're drawing, is if you draw nice and lightly at first, then sometimes you can make adjustments as you go. And then I'm going to add my second rectangle here. Go across. And then I'm going to go down. And across. So I have done, might just make that a little higher. There we go. So now we have finished step 2. Now in most houses when we draw the roof, a lot of times we draw a rectangle. So there's a rectangle here and there's a rectangle here. This rectangle is more like this. And this rectangle is a little bit taller. So I have that. And then there are 2, we're going to add 2 more shapes right here for the roof. So what I want to first do is kind of figure out the halfway point from up here and to here. And so roughly it's kind of maybe around here. I want to come down just a little more than halfway. So this is where I'm going to draw my first shape. So I'm going to go across. And then I'm going to do a diagonal line out. And then I'm going to come back across like this. Okay? And then for my next one, I'm going to come down like that. A little bit further down. And then I'm going to come across. So now I have my basic house. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just erase this line here and this line here. And then we are going to go on to step 2, or page 2, excuse me. So I will pause the video to kind of let you get this drawn in, and then we will move on to the second page. All right, friends, we're moving on to the second page, and in step 5, we are going to add all of the shapes for the windows in the house. So at the very top here, I see I have a horizontal line, and then this window is going to be sort of have a curved shape like that. And then I'm going to add, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of find the halfway point here so that I can have the door be centered. So I'm just going to draw a line here. You would draw it nice and lightly. I'm going to draw it a little bit darker so you can see that. And then that's going to help me figure out, oh, where do I want to draw this triangle for the front door? So I'm going to kind of go up that way. And then I'm going to come down that way. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down like that. And I'm going to come down like that. All right. And then I'm going to see, oh, is this space about the same as this space? And this space is a little bit bigger than this space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dress the angle of my triangle to be a little less. And now this space and this space are a little bit more even. And then what I can do is I'm going to also then draw the posts for that little bit of the roof here. And then I'm also going to draw my front door. So I'm going to draw a curved line that comes across like that. And then I'm going to draw a vertical line down here and a vertical line down here. And then what I'm going to do is I can erase this middle line right here. Whoops. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the window. I'm going to draw a window right here. And then I'm going to fit another window in this space right here. All right. Then I'm going to look and see, okay, there's 2 more windows here. So I'm going to draw, these windows are a little bit taller and thinner. So there's one. And there is the other one. And then over here, kind of on this turret, is another window that's it's like a rectangle with curve on top. Then there is another one down here. So I'm going to do 1, and then we have a diamond here, so I'm going to go diagonal, 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 and there is my diamond. And so oh, you know what Mrs. Herbay forgot to do? I forgot to draw the rectangle for this sort of porch. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. Right now. So I have that there. And then I'm just doing a little check to make sure I got all my windows. And again, I'm just going to erase this little bit of part in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next step. And what happens in this step is that we add another window, and then we also add some details to the window, like the window panes, some shutters, and some sort of like sills underneath the windows over here. Oh, and there's also a chimney, and we make this roof a little bit fancier in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to see, I'm just drawing a triangle inside a triangle. I'm going to add a vertical line and then 2 horizontal lines. I'm going to add the chimney, which is just sort of a rectangle that is off to the side a little bit, like that. Then here there is a circle in the middle, so I'm going to draw a circle, and then it looks like there's a circle inside, and then another circle around, and then there's a line that comes down to divide it in half vertically. There's a line that divides it in half horizontally, and then there's a diagonal line there, and a diagonal line there. And I didn't draw the, I didn't have the lines come all the way into the center of this little circle like that. Then what I want to do is I want to draw the shutters. So these are just rectangles that are on the side here. And if you Mrs. Herbay realized, oh, you know what, there's not quite enough space there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make an adjustment where I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller to accommodate that. There, now I like those shutters, and then I'm just going to straighten up this line a little bit as I go. Now I have my 2 shutters here, and then I'm going to put the window panes here like this, so it's vertical, horizontal. And again, you can decide if you want to do yours a little bit differently. That is great. But I just kind of want to give you guys some ideas. So now I have the windows here. I'm going to do a triangle within this triangle here to make this a little bit fancier. And then I'm going to take a look at my front door, and it's going to have 2 panels here. And then there's a doorknob. And then there is two more rectangles. And then there's steps that are coming, so it's sort of up, over, up, over, up, like that. I'm gonna make that, I'm gonna adjust that, I'm gonna try that again, so it's a little bit more even. So I'm gonna go up here, over, like that. There's my step that kind of comes up like that. And then I'm going to move over, last but not least, to over here, and I'm going to add a rectangle underneath this window, a rectangle underneath that window. And then last but not least, I'm going to add the panes. I'm going to go vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. And then I'm just going to check over, and it looks like I got all of my steps. So why don't you, I'm going to stop the video just for a second so that if maybe I was going a little bit fast, you can catch up. And then what we'll do is we'll finish off steps 7 and 8. All right, guys, we're coming down the home stretch. In this next step, we are going to look at adding a few additional details. Like, for example, underneath, right over here, there's kind of like a little sort of swirl curve. So I'm going to start here and then curve out and then go around like that. And then I can thicken up the line a little bit by just drawing over top of it like that. Then it looks like there's a little bit of a fence, a decorative fence up here. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line coming over, and then I'm just going to draw vertical lines sort of evenly spaced. Like that. And then I'm going to put little triangles on top sort of this little sort of decorative iron fence that's up on the roof. And then I'm going to see, oh, over here there's also another little sort of curved decorative thing right here, and I'm going to kind of come around like that. And then let's see, this is good, this is good. Oh, over here these windows have some curtains. And if you can think of any other fun details that you would like to add, please feel free. This is just sort of Mrs. Herbay's version. And then for the final steps, what we're going to do is we're going to add some roof texture. We're going to add some little roof shingles, and we're going to add some lines to the shutters. We're going to give some brick to the chimney and add a few other details. So what you're going to do is we're just going to draw a few little vertical lines coming down here, just to kind of give that a little bit of texture. And then what I like to do to draw the roof shingles is I'm going to draw some horizontal lines, just going across like this. If you want a lot of little tiny shingles, you want to keep your horizontal lines close to one another. If you want bigger shingles, you will space out your horizontal line. So I'm just going across like this, and I think I have room for one more line like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of draw rectangles. So I'm just adding vertical lines and I'm going across like this. All right. Then what I'm going to do in the next row is I'm going to stagger. So my vertical lines are now going to be staggered, which means they're not going to line up with these vertical lines. They're going to kind of be a little bit off center to those. And that way it makes the roof look a little bit more realistic. So go ahead and you can fill in the rest of the roof shingles. All right, now we have our roof shingles all done. I'm gonna do a similar thing up here with the bricks on the chimney. I'm gonna draw two horizontal lines, and then I'm just gonna stagger my vertical lines. If you want, you can have some smoke coming out of the chimney. Maybe they're burning a fire in the fireplace. Then I'm going to just add some horizontal lines to make my shutters look like shutters. If you want to add other details in the window, you can. If you wanted to put curtains in these windows, you can. Then I'm going to draw just a couple light horizontal lines here, maybe to kind of show maybe there's some siding here. And then down here, I'm going to make this roof a little bit different than this roof, where I'm going to draw sort of some diagonal and vertical lines that are coming down like that. And then I'm going to just draw a few rectangles here, which tells the viewer that there's a little bit, maybe this is a little bit of a brick wall here, but I'm not going to draw, I don't have to draw all the bricks, so I'm just drawing a few rectangles there. And then this is where you can also add some other fun details, like maybe since it's fall, you want to draw a pumpkin sitting here by the front, and maybe I drew some little hail bales here. And I drew a little squirrel. There's a bushy tail. And there's one ear. Little nose. And the foot. And an eye. And then I can add some texture to the bales of hay. And then I put, in this drawing, I put another pumpkin here, so I drew it like this. And then I just drew some corn stalks, which are just, I just drew some sort of diagonal, vertical loose lines, and then I kind of drew some little bit of the corn still in the husks, and then I drew some leaves on there, just like that. And voila, there you have a fun fall house. So this is the non-spooky version. If you would like to do the spooky version, then you're going to click on that tutorial instead.